So since I've been here in Bahrain, we've been speaking on the prayers offered by Prahlad Maharaj and the residents of Harivamsa, which is a region in Jambudvip. So it's from the 5th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 18. Chapter 18 is describing all the different regions of Jambudvip. And in the different regions, they're each worshipping a different form of the Lord. And they offer prayers to that form of the Lord. So I've been going through the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. Actually, what happened in the month of December, I had the opportunity to go on a yatra to Nrisimhadev temples in South India. We went to Ahovalam. We started, the first temple we went to actually was near Hyderabad, and you had to go through this a tunnel where it's all water, you know, the water's up to the waist. Have you seen that temple? You know that temple, there's a deity of Lord Nrisimhadev in there. You have to walk through about a kilometre of channel of water, and with water up to the waist, up to the chest, and you walk through the water, and there's a deity of Lord Nrisimhadev in there. So that was the first temple we went to. Very interesting place. Many people go there. So many people all go. Walk through all, and wade through all that water, get the darshan of the deity. And then of course Ahovalam, you have to climb the mountains and go and see the different forms of Lord Nrisimhadev around the mountains there. Very wonderful. And then we went to Vishakhapatnam. There's a temple there. What's it? Another Nrisimha temple is there.
Barahanas.
No, this temple, it's the one where the Nrisimha deity is covered in chandan, and they only take the chandan off one day in the year.
Once in a year.
Yeah, once on Akshaya Tritiya. On the day of Akshaya Tritiya, they take the chandan off. And that day there's a huge crowd of people because it's the only day in the year you get to see the deity. The whole year it's just covered in chandan, you know. And so that's also an amazing temple. So many wonderful temples where Lord Nrisimhadev is worshipped. Anyway, we were going through these prayers Prahlad Maharaj was offering. The first prayer is very commonly spoken among the temples there. That one which goes, Om Namo Bhagavate Nrisimhaya Namaste Tejase Avir Bhava Brajanaka Brajadamstra Karma Shraya Randaya Tamo Krisa Om Swaha Abhayam Atmani Bhuvishtam Om Shrom. Right, that's the first prayer. Prahlad Maharaj is saying, O my Lord Nrisimhadev, who possesses nails and teeth like thunderbolts, kindly vanquish my demonic-like desires for fruitive activity. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance, so we might become fearless in our struggle for existence in the material world. Beautiful prayer. And it's very commonly chanted in the temples of Lord Nrisimhadev. Anyway, I've been going through the other verses and we've come up to this one, text number 11. I'll just read it to you. Yat sangalabdam nijavirya vaibhavam tirtham moho samprastatam imanasam haratya jonanta shruti birgatangam gajam ko vaina seveta mukunda vikramam ko vaina seveta mukunda vikramam. Right? Who could give up the the opportunity to serve Mukunda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Prahlad Maharaj is saying, by association with persons for whom the Supreme Personality of Godhead Mukunda is the all in all, one can hear of his powerful activities and soon come to understand them. Association is being stressed. We have to associate with people who are devotees, in other words. Without the association of devotees, very difficult to get a taste for hearing. Prahlad Maharaj goes on, he said, the activities of Mukunda are so potent that simply by hearing of them, one immediately associates with the Lord. For a person who constantly and very eagerly hears narrations of the Lord's powerful activities, the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead in the form of sound vibrations enters within his heart and cleanses it of all contamination. On the other hand, although bathing in the Ganga diminishes bodily contaminations and infections, this process and the process of visiting holy places can cleanse the heart only after a long time. Therefore, who is the sane man who will not associate with devotees to quickly perfect his life? So this is Prahlad's prayer. Not only Prahlad, all the residents of Harivarsha, they're also praying in this way to Lord Nrisimhadev. They're praying. Prayer is very important, you know. We're devotees, we have to pray. It's important. Of course, the Muslim people, they're praying 5 times a day, but devotees, we're supposed to pray all the time. We say, Satatam Kirtayantama, always chanting, always praying. And what to pray for? Right? Do you know what to pray for? Sometimes people don't know what to pray for. We should pray for devotional service. Mahaprabhu says in the Shikshastikam, Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim, Kavitam va Jagadisha Kamaye, Mama Janmani, Janmanishware, Abhatabha. Mahaprabhu's teaching us how to pray. I don't want wealth. I don't want followers or fame. I don't want to enjoy the other sex. I don't even want liberation. What do we want? We simply want devotional service, birth after birth. That is the prayer of the devotee. We simply want service. Give me more service. This is the mood of the devotees. Right? So here, Prahlad Maharaj is speaking about service. He's talking about hearing. Hearing is very important service. Bhakti begins with hearing. We know from the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna has explained the yoga ladder in the first 6 chapters. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatin antaratmanam. Of all yogis, who is the highest? The bhakta, the devotee. He's the highest of all. There's the karma yogi, the jnana yogi, the dhyana yogi, astanga yogi, and at the top of the yoga ladder is the bhakti yogi. Bhakta yogi. He's at the top. And then 7th chapter begins talking about bhakti, because Krishna has told us bhakti is at the top. How to do bhakti? Chapter 7 begins. Lord Krishna is saying, Mayatatam Jagad Sarvam Jagad Abhyaktamartina. He's saying, now hear from me, O Arjuna, how by practicing yoga you can know me in full, free from doubt. He said, hearing is very important. Hearing about Krishna. That's the first thing, we have to hear. We come here to the Krishna Conscious Centers to hear. We hear and we chant. Our process of kirtan is like that. We hear the kirtan, we respond to the kirtan. So we hear carefully and then we repeat. And when we hear and chant nicely, then what happens? Then smaranam, remembrance comes. We start to remember the Lord. Becomes easy. You want to remember Krishna? First you have to hear and you have to chant. And then you'll be able to remember. Without hearing and chanting, you won't be able to remember. People try to meditate. Meditation means remembering the Lord. But if you try to meditate without hearing and chanting, you won't be successful. The mind will wander. Mind's going to go. But if you hear properly, you hear regularly, then the mind will become fixed. So this is the program. We have to hear. First we hear. We come together to hear. In the Bhagavad Gita also, Lord Krishna is describing, in the Chatur Sloki Bhagavad Gita, the 4 nutshell verses of the Bhagavatam, right? The first verse is Sambandha, and the next verse is Abhidaya. Abhidaya is the process of bhakti. And what is that process of bhakti? Matchita Gita Prana Bodhayantas Parasparam Katayantas Chamam Nityam Dusyanti Charama. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are surrendered unto me. They derive great satisfaction and bliss, enlightening one another and conversing about me. This is the business of association, enlightening one another and conversing about Krishna, talking about Krishna. This is the business of our Krishna consciousness movement. To share, to give this knowledge, distribute, give people the chance to hear. Right? We have everywhere around the world, we have Sankirtan parties. We have Kirtan, of course, you have also Kirtan Mela here, right? You have Kirtan Mela, it's an opportunity to hear, right? We go to hear the holy name. Hearing, that's very important for us. And what is the effect of the hearing? Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Ridyantas Dodhya Badrani Vidunoti Suritsatam. Lord Krishna, Super Soul in the heart, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from those who relish his message, which is virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So, we hear nicely, it will have that effect. It will clean the heart. We want to, and you can see Prahlad Maharaj is speaking. He said, you go to bathe in the Ganga, or you go to visit holy places. He said, well, bathe in the Ganga, it will help you to overcome bodily contamination and infection. But it's not going to clean the heart very quickly. You have to bathe a long time in the Ganga for it to clean your heart. And similarly, going to holy places, visiting holy places, it's nice. I've spent quite a bit of time. I was on the safari. I was in Mayapur for Gaur Purnima, and then we had the safari after Gaur Purnima. Safari is when Jayapataka Swami's devotees, we come out from Mayapur, we go to visit temples around India. So this year we went to South India. We started in Tirupati. That was our first stop. From Mayapur, we went down to Tirupati, took the train down to Tirupati, and we're in Tirupati. We have our iSKCON center there in Tirupati, of course, and we had programs there. But the real purpose of going to visit these places, it's not just to go and see. You know, some people go, they go shopping and they go to see. That's not the real purpose of going to the holy place. Why do we go to holy places? The real purpose is to hear. We have to hear from the devotees. That's the real purpose. It's not just to exercise the eyes. Oh, I want to see. Oh, you know. That's not the real value of going to holy place. The real thing is hearing. You have to hear from the devotees. So we go to these holy places and it stimulates our desire to hear more and to discuss more the glories of the Lord. So we were in Tirupati. From Tirupati we went to Trichy. We saw Lord Ranganath. Everywhere we have our iSKCON centers, fortunately. We went to Kumbakonam. Kumbakonam, we have an iSKCON center also there. Nice center. Nice devotees also, young men, brahmacharis, preaching there, going to the colleges, getting new devotees. Very nice. A lot of preaching going on in South India. And wonderful centers. Even in Trichy, we have our own center there, near to Sri Rangam. Devotees are there. And then we went down to Rameshwaram. Oh, we had a big program in Madurai. In Madurai, Jayapataka Swami had come. He came all the way from Mayapur down to Chennai. And he came to Madurai for the program. Madurai, we have some amazing devotees there. There's this one devotee, very wealthy man. He's in the gold business, you know, he sells these gold necklaces. Of course, people get married, they put the gold necklace around the wife, right? And so it's a good business. So this man, he has a jeweler's shop, many. What's that noise? Yeah, he had this one devotee of Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, his name is Balaramdesh. Anyway, he's a wealthy man. And so he sponsored this whole program, 1 weekend program. And we had this huge auditorium, 4,500 people came. Huge, beautiful auditorium, very nice place. Beautiful, big stage and everything. Wonderful sound system, very beautiful. Wonderful wonderful prasadam also for everybody, you know. And the wonderful thing, it was all sponsored, you know. Usually you have to pay, you know. I know when we have these kind of conventions, you got to pay, but this time this one man was covering the whole thing. Wow, and it was 4,500 people came. 700 people came from Bangalore, and people were coming from all over because Jayapataka Swami was there, and so he has so many disciples there. So everyone was eager to see the Guru Maharaj, and he came there, and he also gave initiation. And at that time also he also initiated 2 of his very senior devotees that they would start also becoming spiritual masters, and they can accept disciples. So he initiated them into gurus, to become the Diksha gurus. That's Revati Raman Prabhu and Chaitanya Avatari Prabhu. Two very senior men, both in the Grihastha life, in Grihastha order, but they're very senior and they're very active, very dedicated devotees. And they've both done wonderful service for the Krishna consciousness movement. Revati Raman oversees the affairs in Tirupati, there, and other areas around that thing. And Chaitanya Avatari, he's in Bangalore. He's developed a nice center there, and he's also very active in the Bhakti Vriksha preaching around the world that's going on. Bhakti Vriksha preaching, so he guides people. And so now they're both given the position to initiate also. So like that, we had a wonderful program for 2 days. There were many devotees came. Bhakti Purushottam Swami was there. Bhakti Prachar Paribrajak Swami Maharaj was there. And so many other people, very senior. Singeshwara Prabhu from Malaysia, he's in charge of Malaysia, he was there, and they were all giving talks. And this man who sponsored the whole thing, this Balaram Govind, his wife spoke, and she was really good. His wife was a very powerful preacher. I mean, I could understand, they say behind every great man there's a greater woman. So this woman, she was really powerful, and she was preaching, about how she brought the whole family into Krishna consciousness, how she got everybody to give up the meat eating and stuff like that. And they have the gold shop, and they opened a new gold shop while we were there, and many of us went to the shop, and everybody in the shop, they were all devotees, and they have programs in the shop also. They have katha going on, and prasadam is distributed there and everything. Amazing. This was going, you couldn't believe it. This auditorium was so big and so magnificent. It was so high class. 4,500 people were all accommodated. So very wonderful program we had there in Madurai. And then after Madurai we went on, continued the tour. We went down Rameshwaram and went to also different, what are they called? Tirtha places. Tirtha places of Ramanuja, where the Alvars had been. What are they called? Where the Alvars had come and spoken, stayed for some time. Ramanujacharya talked about 108 different, what are they called? Divya Deshams. So we saw some of those places. We went to the place where Ramanuja had gone up on top of the temple, after he got the mantra from his guru. We heard he went to the guru 17 times. The guru didn't give him the mantra, right? First 16 times didn't get the mantra. The 17th time he went, the guru gave him the mantra. How determined you have to be. You want to get initiation, you want to get the mantra. See, Ramanuja went 17 times before he got the mantra from his guru. The guru told him, very powerful, this mantra will liberate you. Don't tell anybody. And what does he do when he gets the mantra? He goes up on the roof and he calls it, hey, chant this mantra, everyone. If you chant this mantra, you'll get liberated. So this temple was there. We went up on the roof, we went to the same place where Ramanuja stood. They've got Ramanuja's form up there on the top of the temple, in tribute. And it's so wonderful to see these places. how Ramanuja he did these things. And they have their temple also. It's a bit, that temple is a bit like TOBP, you know. They've got the earth, and then Bomandala, and then Bormandala, and then Swarga, and above Swarga, then you come to Vaikuntha, and like that. Of course, they don't have Goloka, you see. The Ramanujas, the Sri Vaishnavas, they're a bit different from the Mahaprabhu's teachings. The Sri Vaishnavas, for the Sri Vaishnavas, Vishnu is the supreme. But in Krishna consciousness, we have above Vaikuntha, there's Goloka. So in their temple, they all had Vaikuntha. But we have Goloka above Vaikuntha, you know, where Krishna is. But for the Sri Vaishnavas, Vishnu is the supreme. Anyway, it's a small thing. Very nice anyway to see these wonderful temples, ancient temples, still worshipping very nicely. Like in Ahovalam, they have these temples way up in the mountains, and every day they go way up there in the mountain to do the puja. Every day somebody will go there to do the puja and make the offering to the deity. And some days it will be stormy, some days rainy. They have to climb all the way up, to go all the way up the mountains, to go there to serve the deity. And they take turns, they move out, they exchange. One Brahmin will go there one day, and another Brahmin will go there the next day. They interchange. But very dedicated to the worship of Lord Nrisimhadev. So then we went to Trivandrum after that. In Trivandrum also we have our centre. Trivandrum was the end of our safari. We were there in Trivandrum for several days, and we had nice programs there with the devotees. In Trivandrum, devotees are very active, and they have 18 centres around Trivandrum. This whole Trivandrum has become expanded a lot. So, you know, the managers of iSKCON, what we call they're called the GBC, the Governing Body Commissioners. They oversee the affairs of iSKCON, and they've suggested that, you know, iSKCON devotees need to go out more. We need to get out more and move around preaching and open up more centres and get more devotees. And, you know, just like the Christians, you know, they have churches, they maybe only open on Sunday. So we're doing like that, they're having centres like that in Trivandrum. And Jagat Sakshi Prabhu who's in charge there, wonderful devotee, and he told me, he said they get one family, put one family in charge, and after a year they'll have 100 people coming. It just grows, you know, people come, they keep the program going every week, you have a nice program, and people come, and more come. Like that, it grows and grows very nicely. And so now in iSKCON we're trying to do like that more, you know, to expand the preaching and get more devotees, have more and more centres. Even though they're not open all the time, but have centres once a week, and Sunday you have a program. With most people working, you know, Sunday, of course here it's Friday, but different places. But the idea is just to try to reach out more, to introduce Krishna consciousness to more and more people. So like that, visiting holy places it's very nice if you have the right association and the right mood. The mood is that we're coming for purification, and the purification is not just only seeing, but also hearing. And we want to hear very carefully. We need to hear, and that will cleanse the heart. Of course some people say, well, I have no taste, I don't have an interest to hear. Well, if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, it tells us how we can get that taste. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sutta Goswami speaking to the sages in Naimisharanya, and he's describing the process of bhakti. He said, Susushrosha dadanashya Vasudev kataruchi Shanmahatsevaya vipra punya tirtha nishevana. By serving the devotees, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the message of Vasudeva. So you don't have a taste to hear? If you do service, you get more taste. I remember myself when I first became a devotee. It was all new to me, and I couldn't understand what the Srimad Bhagavatam is all about, and and in the morning we'd sit there and I go, it's hard to stay awake because we got up so early in the morning and then sit there in the class, and could fall asleep. So they told me, they said, you go and help in the kitchen, cut the vegetables. That I got put in the kitchen, I could go and help cut the vegetables. And okay, I was in the kitchen, I was cutting the vegetable, washing the pots and things like that. So, because I was doing service, then after some time I got more interest that, hey, listen, I want to go to class too, I don't want to just be cutting the vegetables every day, So anyway, after some time they let me also start go to class again. But don't sleep. Listen, right? Pay attention. That's important. So anyway, it helped to get a taste. Sometimes you have to do service. Maybe if we don't have taste, we haven't done enough service. I know some of the most advanced devotees I know, they did a lot of service. Just like there's one lady, she lives in Vrindavan, and she has a bookshop, Matchless Gifts in the Vrindavan. Have you seen the Krishna Balaram Mandir? If you go to Vrindavan, there's a little shop there called Matchless Gifts. So the lady who runs that is a lady called Daiva Shakti. She's an American lady, and she used to distribute books in Port Authority in New York City. I know when I went to New York, I was also distributing books with her there in the Port Authority. Port Authority bus terminal in New York, wow, it's a heavy place, a lot of Rajagun, a lot of Tamagun, very busy place, and you've got the buses on the top and the subway underground station below that, it all comes in, it's like a whole mecca there, and buses going all over USA and the subway going all over New York and Brooklyn, and it's a busy place, and you're in there and you're trying to distribute books to people, and people are really passionate. But, if you stick it out, you get a lot of purification, you get a lot of mercy. So this lady, Daiva Shakti, she had been just a little woman, and she used to distribute so many books. She used to do really good, I was always wondering, wow, how could she do it? She would collect so much more, distribute so many more books than me. And then after some years, after she'd done that she moved to Vrindavan. And because she'd done so much service distributing books, she could stay there in Vrindavan and she could be successful and establish herself as a very formidable preacher there of Krishna consciousness. So it comes about through the medium of service. You do service, you get the mercy. And what is that mercy? You have a taste. You want to hear. You want to hear about Krishna. We want to hear, and when we hear nicely, we clean the heart. And when we clean the heart, you get rid of the Rajagun and the Tamagun, and you come up to the mode of goodness. You become fixed on the platform of goodness. Right? We said, Nasta Prayesva Badreshu Nityam Bhagavat. by regularly hearing the Bhagavatam and rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is inauspicious becomes eradicated almost to nil. You get rid of all the dirt in the heart. What's in the heart? Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Madha, Matsarya. These are the things, the dirty things in the heart. You get rid of them by service. And what is that service? Hearing the Bhagavatam. There's the book Bhagavatam and there's the Persian Bhagavatam. Right? The Persian Bhagavatam is at the back there, Srila Prabhupada. And the book Bhagavatam is, where are the books? Well, I've got my soft copies here in the computer. Soft copy Bhagavatam. Right? But service to the Bhagavad. If you can serve both, you serve one or the other, both, either way you get benefited. And the benefit is you get rid of all the bad things from the heart. And when we get rid of the bad thing, then we come up to the mode of goodness. You come up to the platform of goodness. That is where we actually do bhakti. Devotional service begins on that platform. We have to become a Brahmana. Brahmana is a symbol of the mode of goodness, right? We have to come up to that position of the sattva gun. If we're passionate and ignorant, where is the Brahminical quality? We have to develop the good qualities, and that means the mode of goodness. And when we become fixed on the mode of goodness, then we come to know Krishna. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogata bhagavat tattva vijnana mukta sangasyatari. Thus established on the mode of goodness, we come to know scientifically the personality of Godhead. We actually get to know Krishna through the medium of service. Hearing is how we know Krishna. Lord Krishna comes in the Kali Yuga, we say, Kali Kale Namarupe, Krishna Avatar. Krishna comes in the form of His holy name. When we're associating with Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna also comes as a deity, the Archa Vigraha, another form of association. So we have to take advantage of that association with Lord Krishna. We come to know Krishna. We have a relationship with Krishna. And Prahlad Maharaj is teaching us how to nourish, how to cultivate that relationship more and more. So, going to visit holy places, very nice, yeah. We encourage devotees. We always like to take devotees to Mayapur, Vrindavan, go for parikrama, like that, these different things. It's good. But remember, what is the real purpose of these things? It's to hear, to get the association, the Sangha. Being in the holy places, it's much more easier to get that nice association. Right? When we're away here in the desert lands, there's not a lot of sadhus here, They say, in the desert, you can't do yajna. You don't do yajna in the deserts, A desert, it's not a very pious place. So it's not a very good place to do yajna. But you go to the holy places, where the Ganga flows. These are holy places, special places. We take advantage of these places to hear, to chant, to remember Krishna. So Krishna consciousness is in everyone. We have to awaken it by hearing. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Shaja Kabunai Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Kore Heudai. Right? Nitya Siddha. Love of Krishna is in the heart of everyone. It has to be awakened by hearing about Krishna. So our Krishna Consciousness Society is giving all of us a chance to hear. And we're so fortunate with all the technology which is available. We can hear regularly. Every day you can be hearing from every different temple around the world. Every day you can get transcripts even of the different lectures given. I get Jayapataka Swami's lectures regularly, transcripts of what he's saying. And we can hear from Radhanath Swami, we can hear from so many nice devotees what they're preaching. We have to take advantage to hear. Use our ears, right? Fill the ears with the pure sound vibration. Don't be like Ganta Karan. You know that person, Ganta Karan? You know him? He's the guy, he's got the bells on his ears. The Ganta. Ganta Baji. Shankar Baji, Ganta Baji. Right? Ring the bell, the sound of the bell. So, Ganta Karan, he put the bell. Why did he put the bells on his ear? He didn't want to hear. Whenever the devotees come to tell him about Krishna, I go, no. Doesn't want. He shakes his head, the bells ring. He won't hear any Krishna katha. Doesn't want to hear. So some people are like that. They're unfortunate souls. But we want to be fortunate. Take advantage. Use the ears. Fill the ears with spiritual sound. Otherwise the ears will become like the holes of the snake. The snake will find the holes to enter and they eat the rats and live in the same way Maya, the sound vibration of the mundane world, will enter the ears and fill the ears. So Rupa Goswami warns us about prajalpa, nonsense talk. Nonsense talk breeds nonsense thought. And nonsense thought breeds nonsense action. And by nonsense action means again birth and death in the material world. Stay in the material world. So we want to be very careful to avoid the nonsense, not to hear the gossip. We don't want to hear the Gramya Katha. We want to hear the Krishna Katha. Satam prasanga mama virya samvido bhavantir karana rasayana katha. Lord Kapila is talking to Devahuti. He's telling his mother, he said, the topics of Lord Krishna are very pleasing to the ear and to the heart. And these topics are relishable in the association of Lord Krishna's devotees. They give pleasure to the ear and to the heart. So here, the ear, people hear in the one ear, out the other ear. That's not very good hearing. We have to hear very carefully. Here, it should go to the heart. We want it to remain in the heart. So hearing very carefully. And we need to hear for a long time, regularly. We have to cultivate this hearing process. So this is our Krishna consciousness movement, to give all of us an opportunity to hear and to chant more the glories of Lord Krishna. All right? Are there any questions? Anyone? Any topic? Any discussion? Everybody agree? We encourage all the devotees also, if you've not already done, take part in the Bhakti Shastri course, do the Bhakti Shastri, study the books together, and when you finish Bhakti Shastri, go on and study Bhakti Vaibhav. Bhakti Shastri nowadays, you want to get second initiation, you have to study Bhakti Shastri. If you've not done the Bhakti Shastri, you won't get second initiation. And Bhakti Vaibhav is for those who want to go on, be sannyasis. You want to become a sannyasi preacher, have to do Bhakti Vaibhav. Means study the first 6 cantos, Srimad Bhagavatam. And you can go on and do Bhakti Vedanta also. Then you can initiate disciples. Take disciples. So we have so many nice courses arranged just to give you an opportunity to hear more about Krishna and to learn more. What is the subject matters in Prabhupada's books? Sometimes people say, oh, they gave me the Bhagavad Gita, I can't understand it. Okay, join the course. Come and learn. Come and hear from the teachers. They'll guide you through it. We have wonderful courses. And we have also iSKCON disciple course. What does it mean to be a disciple? Everyone should take that course. That's a very short course. Just a few days you can study the IDC. It's called iSKCON disciple course. Very instructive. What is iSKCON? How does it work? How is it managed? What is initiation? How to select a guru? How to know who guru is? And what is the duties of disciple? All of these things, everything explained very nicely. So these courses are there for everyone's benefit. And we encourage all of you, take part in these things. Join these courses if you have not already done. Even if you've done them, you can do them again. Second time round, even more benefit. You learn more. Sometimes you hear one time, you can't remember so much, but you do it again, you get even more benefit. Okay. Any other question? Comment? Okay, thank you very much. Hare